We are finally at the end of our greenhouse build, and now I'm going to plant out a lot of tomatoes. But before we do that, I'm going to remove all of the weeds. I've had some cardboard laid down, so there isn't that many weeds, but still it's really nice to have a blank slate before I plant the tomatoes. And I'm going to plant them a few different ways, so we'll see which way will be the best one, and if they grow better the one or the other way. This first row of tomatoes, I'm going to dig a trench all the way down through the greenhouse, and then I'm going to fill it up with some lime and some old eggs and a lot of water, and then I will plant the tomatoes really deep down there. So you can see I have dug down maybe 15 centimeters, about 6 inches, and now I'm going to put all of the amendments in there. The dirt is already fertilized a lot because we have had our ducks and chickens be there over the winter. And these are all of the tomatoes that I have sown, and I have a lot of different kinds, so I have to choose which one will go into the greenhouse and which will go outside and which I will give to someone or sell. So now that I have this trench, my husband is putting down the lime, and I have this long hose where we have water from a water tank, and it will just run really slowly while we work. And I also put down all of the eggs and just crushed them. Now I'm choosing my tomatoes, and I'm pulling off all of the bottom leaves because I will plant them really deep, and there's also already a little sucker on this one, so I'm also going to remove that before I plant it. And some of them have a little sun damage on the leaves, so you can also remove those leaves because they don't matter that much, they're already almost dead. So now I'm almost done with the first half of this row. So I just put down my tomatoes every foot or so, 30 centimeters, and you can see how the water is just running slowly here. So I will fill it up with water and let it sink in really deep, because this way I don't have to water my tomatoes all summer long. They will just have some really deep roots that will go down and take the water that they need. And I'm just going to show you where the water comes from. That's the big red pallet tank over there. So that is why it's running slowly. And I'm going to put some dirt around all of the tomatoes here. And some of it is a little lumpy, so I'm just going to crush it and put it nicely around all of them. So doesn't it look nice? They're pretty small right now, the tomatoes, but they will grow really fast now because it's nice and hot inside of the greenhouse. And then we are going on with the second half of this row. So we're going to dig out the next trench here. So Preben is doing this. And then we will just plant them the same way all the way down. So now the first row of 23 tomatoes is done, and then I'm going to do it in the other side of the greenhouse, but this time I'm not digging a big trench. I'm just using this little shovel and just digging a little hole for each tomato. I'm still trying to dig a deep hole so I can plant them really deep, but it's not that easy with this little shovel. I'm also going to amend it with lime, but I don't have any more eggs, so it's just the lime and a lot of water. And then we will see how they do during the season, which one of them will grow the best. You can see this hole is more compacted than the next one, and that's because we already dug down when we made the greenhouse. So I dug all of these holes, and then I'm ready to amend them and to put water in, and then put all of the tomatoes in them. And once again, I'm just letting the water soak down really deeply. So I have to move the hose around a lot. Then I will move it back to the first hole again when it has soaked down, and then I'll just go on like that. So I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of water in each of the holes. Now I'm just placing my tomatoes. And as I mentioned, I have a lot of different kinds. So I'm choosing the ones that I like the most, and maybe that I don't have that many of. I have a lot of San Marzanos, so I don't plant all of those. And it's a little easier in this side of the greenhouse because I didn't dug up that much dirt, so it's only a little dirt that I have to put back as well. But I'm really curious to see which method works the best. And now I have planted both sides, and I still have the cardboard in the middle just to keep down the weeds. And in a few days I'm also going to plant in the middle of the greenhouse, and then I will put the cardboard on the sides, on the aisles, so we still can keep the weeds down. And these were planted a few days before the other ones, and they have already grown a lot. And these are all of the tomatoes that I have left. So I need to figure out which of them is going in the ground in the greenhouse, and maybe I'll also put some outside in the garden. And this is a new day where I'm in the other greenhouse, and I'm going to plant out a lot of my chilies. I have different kinds of chilies and other peppers and so on. I have about 150 plants, I think, so I'm going to fit all of them inside of this greenhouse. The tomatoes, as mentioned, I won't be watering all season long, but I will be watering the chilies because they don't have those deep roots. So I have these 2 soaker hoses in each bed, and I turned the water on so it's watering while I'm planting them. And first off, I just took all of the pots for this bed and placed them so I could see which distance I had to plant them in, and if I had to move them a little, and so now I'm just putting them into the ground. And now I finished that first side, so now I'm going to plant the middle bed, and it's a little smaller than the ones in the sides. So in this one I only have 1 hose in the middle, and I will just plant the plants on each side of that hose. And now it's yet another day, and I'm going to plant the last tomatoes in the big greenhouse, my new greenhouse, and I'm going to use some of this fertilizer in that row. So we will see if that makes a difference in the end. The other 2 rows only had the lime put down, and then the natural fertilizer from all of my animals. So I just dug a trench all the way down again, and now I'm going to put in the fertilizer and the lime. And this is the lime that I'm using. Then I'll have the hose just fill it up with water once again. And the water is just running nice and slowly, and while it does that, I will place all of the tomatoes that I will have in this part of the greenhouse. So just choose the ones that I wanted the most, and here I have some banana legs, and they really need to get out of the pots. They have a lot of roots, as you can see. So I'm just placing them all the way down into that trench, and then I'm going to crush the dirt around them and plant them this way. And I'm only planting about 16 in the middle row, and I have 23 in each of the other rows. But because I need some space to get in the greenhouse and to get around at the end, I don't plant as many in this row. I could maybe have 1 or 2 more plants, but they will also get big, and that's not so easy then. I just put some extra dirt in this corner, and I only have 22 in this row, so I'm just putting a little Amish paste in the corner here. And I'm also going to water it really good, because you can see when you only water the top, it won't get down into the dirt, into where the roots are. So it's really important to water the hole a lot before you plant it. And now I'm putting the cardboard back down to keep the weeds away. And I also have it in the rest of the greenhouse. And this is how the end result looks right now. And you can already see that the tomatoes in both sides are a lot bigger than the ones I just planted now. So they're really taking off right after they got planted. And up here in the end I also put 2 tomatillo plants, so they have a lot of space to be up here. This is the first time I'm growing those, so I'm really excited about it. And this is a few days later, where I'm back in the other greenhouse planting the last of my chilies. So all in all I have about 150. So I think we will have a lot of cowboy candy and hot sauces this fall when I'm going to harvest all of these. Back there in the end where I'm planting right now is some eggplants. I think I have 6 eggplants, and some of them are already about to flower. So it's time for them to get into the dirt. And now I'm also done with this greenhouse. Everything is in the dirt, and Preben is amending some of them. And it's really important that you water when you amend, because else the plant won't get the nutrients. And I have this little cucumber that I'm going to pick for dinner tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and go and follow us at Instagram at Vestas Farm Life. Bye bye.